unlocking your old man strength or your old woman strength, because it really doesn't have anything to do with gender, and it really has nothing to do with age. But I have learned this: as you get older, you learn from your experience, and that's your number one asset. As you age, senior self-defense, if you want to be successful defending yourself, focus on what you have instead of worrying about what you no longer have. Too many people spend all their time thinking about, when I was younger, I could do this, I was faster, I was stronger, I was more agile, I had more time to train. Whatever it is, you have to let it all go. And by letting it go, you unlock the one thing that you have in abundance, which is your great experience. Now, experience tells me that I'm not going to be as fast as I used to be, but I can still be very fast. And I want to show you how to unlock that senior power, or unlock your knockout power, generate more power to stop the fight, stop them in their tracks. Basically what I like to call old man strength or old woman strength. And I call it old man strength, old woman strength. Again, nothing to do with gender, nothing to do with age, everything to do with understanding experience and the ability to put your ego to the side and listen. Most young people, and I work with young people all day, every single day. I've been doing it for 30 years. I was a young person once myself, and I know this about young people. Sometimes you're so pig-headed and hard-headed, it takes a lot of time for things to sink in. My instructor used to hit the table really hard, or the desk, and he said, your heart is talking to me. You're hard-headed, your head's just like a rock. You have to hit it hard just to get anything to go into it. And he was absolutely right. But now that I'm older, I learn how to listen more than I speak. I look, I listen, I think, I go from experience. So this is what we're going to talk about. We're talking about 3 things that you can do to unlock that knockout power, generate more stopping power to stop the fight with your senior self-defense techniques. Now, senior self-defense technique could be anything. Could be elbows, could be palms, could be punches, knees, kicks, takedown techniques, using the walking cane, using any type of self-defense tool that you can pick up. I was in the grocery store. I was thinking about a recent event, an active shooting kind of thing, and I got my kids with me, and I'm thinking, if I were here, improvised weapons, what could I use? And there are all kinds of things: cans of beans, soda cans. There are all kinds of things that you can throw, distract with, or hit somebody, knock them out, or put in your hand to hit a lot harder. So I'm going to talk about how to take any of those techniques you might be practicing in your senior self-defense training, whether it's with me or anybody else, and how to generate more power. Unlock your old man strength, unlock your old woman strength. Number 1, full extension on your technique. This goes back to what I said earlier. You have experience. You have your experience in abundance. That's your greatest asset as you age, as you get older. Young people, sometimes I will teach them the same thing over and over, and I'll say 1,000,000 times, you have to fully extend. When they start to hit the bag, they just want to hit it hard, fast, and they love to do this. They love to hit it so it swings, and they hit it so it swings, and they hit, and they think by swinging the bag, they're hitting it really hard because it looks really cool. And sometimes it's hard for a young person to hear what I'm saying because they don't have that experience that you and I have. And what I say is, if it's swinging, you have no control over it. Learn how to hit it, make it stop, but when you punch, go through that target with the full extension. So to unlock old man strength, old woman strength, it's all about what you know and what you can apply, not about true power. It's a decision, right? You're just going to hit them harder, and you're going to do that because you have good technique. That's your experience. Learn it the first time. I don't have to tell you because you're older. You're going to get it when I tell you the first time. It's full extension first. Whether it's a palm strike, an elbow through their face, up into their body, if it's a knee driving into their ribs, or maybe coming into their thigh, or maybe it's a swift kick straight in. Whatever it is you're going to do, you're going to commit with full extension. Number 1, to unlock your old man strength, old woman strength for senior self-defense. Number 2, turn through your spine. Turn your shoulders and turn your hips. Again, I work with young people all day long. I had boxing class this morning. I got one coming up in 10 minutes. And I've got one later tonight. And the one later tonight, he's a little bit older. He's not quite senior yet, but he's old enough to realize he's not as fast as he used to be. He's not as strong as he used to be, but he can generate knockout, devastating, stop them in their tracks, knockout power because he's getting close to old man strength. He's going to slow down and listen to me and hear it the first time when I say extend and turn. Extend and turn. So the second thing that you're going to do is you're going to punch through the target, palm strike, elbow, whatever your technique is, but you have to turn and rotate. And it seems simple, right? And you're saying, yeah, everybody knows that. Yes, they might know it by or thinking about it. They have the information, but can they do it? Most of the time they don't. It takes me weeks and weeks training with a young person to get them to first extend and second to turn. And then when they start to hit that bag and they start to really move it, they shock themselves. And you see that little smile creeping up. But what I experience when I work with older students, senior self-defense, unlocking that old man's strength, and I tell them, don't try to compete with your 19-year-old self. Don't compete with your 30-year-old self. Start from where you are and get stronger. You have everything you need now, right now, at any age, to create more power, generate stopping power, knockout power, by simply doing three things. First, full extension. Second, turn. Shoulders and hips. Shoulders and hips. If you want to turn faster, suck your stomach up and in. Abs tight, stomach up and in. I'm going to adjust the camera just a little bit. Pulling this up and in, that locks the upper body. It engages the upper body and the lower body together so they start to move more efficiently. You're going to hit a lot harder. Boom, boom, boom. You're right. You're going to strike with this devastating power. So now you have that extension. Just by extending, you can see I'm moving this 100-pound teardrop heavyweight or heavy bag. I call this the head hunter because it reminds me of punching someone right in the face. There's just something about this. If you've ever seen one of these or had the pleasure to use one, I've got the link below. Actually, I just realized they sell them now. I'm going to add it to my store, the supply store I use. But it just feels like punching a face. If you've ever punched someone in the face, you know what I'm talking about. It feels like punching a body. Something about water in this thick rubber. And I think these are like buoys, or they use them, boats, keep boats from crashing up against the deck or the dock. Anyway, first you get the power, extension, you move it a little bit. That's harder than most people punch because they don't extend. And look at that. Second, turning through your shoulder. I should look at it. Turn through your shoulder. Turn through your shoulder. And that simple turn gives you more reach, more extension. So this is extension. This is turn and extension. You're getting more reach. You're going through the target farther. You're hitting them much, much harder. So if you're not as young as you used to be, good. You've got wisdom. You've got experience. You've got life that's going to feed into proper self-defense technique. And number one, extend. Always turn over a little bit. Number two, rotate. Extension and rotation. And number three, you don't even have to write it down because I know you know how to pay attention, right? But if you're like me, you're going to write it down anyway. But you pay attention and you get it the first time. That's why I love working with older and older students. I've been figuring this out over the last 5 years. The older the student is, the fewer times I have to say it. I only have to say it one time to most of my students who are older, over the age of 40, because they get it the first time. So you're doing extension, you're doing rotation, and third, and this is magical, move your body. The basic idea is if I hit you here, that's my arm power. If I turn, now I'm getting my body weight into it, but not my full body. If I take a tiny step, which moves me forward, we'll go this way. If I take a small step while I'm also punching, and you can do it, I'm gonna rotate the camera so you can see my foot. Do it with just the front foot first. Work on just your jab or your front hand punch. This foot's gonna stay in place, small step, because we're gonna come up with the camera again, and I'll show you the reverse punch with the backhand. This foot comes forward, just like you're stepping on an ant, squishing, right? You're stepping in or you're kicking out a cigarette butt. I know some of you guys still smoke. I'm not calling you out on it, but you know what I'm talking about. Just a small step. So now we go back to the first level. That's a lot better than just punching with your tricep. Really, if you think about it, that's just punching with that tricep muscle mostly. When I punch here, now I'm getting my chest, my back, all my arm into it. Now I turn through. I'm starting to get more power, more stopping power, because I don't want you to have to go toe-to-toe and box someone for 15 rounds. I want you to hit them once, twice, get out of the way, and on that second or third punch, knock them clear out, right? And that's your advantage of being older. The young punk comes up. You learn senior self-defense, how to defend yourself. You know how to unlock old man power, unlock old woman power by extension, turning, and third, move the body. Start first with just that front foot. And I am gonna move the camera. Hold on, let me bring it back just a tiny bit. I apologize if I'm making anybody nauseous, I know. I need a cameraman, right? I'm working on it. I've been working on it I had somebody and the COVID hit, and I'm working on it again. I think I've got somebody again. This front foot, step, step. As you step, punch. Just if you put your hand, just if I put my hand here and I step, you can see just my body weight now easily is moving that 100 pounds. Now, if I throw that into a punch, I'm going to clearly throw all my body weight into his chin and knock him out. That's my goal. That's your goal for self-defense. Senior self-defense, you want to unlock old man strength, unlock old woman strength, generate more power in the punch, do those three things: extension, rotation, and step. Get your body in action. So again, with this front foot, I'm stepping, and you can see how much harder I'm moving, how much more it's moving. From here, pow! It's also going to be faster. You're going to explode in. And then that back foot, remember I said it's going to come forward just a tiny bit, and that's so you don't go like this and run your chin. Don't run your chin into his fist, right? Don't block his punch with your face. That's a bad idea when you were 20. It's really bad when you're 65 or 75. From here, turn. Extend through, bring that foot forward on that cross punch. That's the knockout power. That's that Mike Tyson in the fight power. We're coming back up. So those are the three things. Now, one note about punching bare knuckle, right? It's so fun because it's like, oh, it's so realistic. But I'll tell you this, if I put my gloves on and if I wrap my hands, it's just even better. Wrap the hands, put the gloves on, I can smash, there it is. I can hit this thing so much harder. You can hit so much harder when you wear gloves and wraps, or at least gloves, and get it real tight. And practice both. You can do the bare knuckle thing, but also put the gloves on because you're going to generate so much more power on your punching. And even, it doesn't matter your age, because I do this for a living. I teach people for a living. I teach them as young as 4. I don't like to do that anymore. I'm getting too old and cranky. But I'll do it. Got to keep the lights on. Not that many. I don't teach like I used to. But a little handful here, a little handful here. I'll run over to the school, teach them how to say, focus the eyes, focus, think about it, look at me. All that good stuff, right? All that stuff that is not martial arts and not self-defense, but people want to pretend it is. That's not martial arts. That's getting kids to pay attention. I'll gladly do that because our world needs that right now. I teach the middle-aged kids, the tweens and the teens, self-confidence and self-esteem and self-respect and all the self stuff they're not getting from doing this all day in the public schools that are saying we're all friends and la-di-da. So I do that too. That's not martial arts. That's not self-defense. I do teach some anti-bullying stuff. You don't have to like me, but you can't pick on me. You don't have to like me, but you can't touch me. Get your hands up, get out of the way. That's self-defense. And I teach them how to help each other. All that's self-defense, but of a different kind. But I love teaching boxing and fitness and kickboxing and Muay Thai because I work with the teens and then I work with a lot of 20-somethings, right? And these guys come in here and they're in peak physical condition. And I see them and I think, I remember that. I remember never being sore. I can't remember never being sore. I remember being sore like in my 30s. But back then, man, you were never sore. And that speed and that raw power and all that stuff. But they don't listen. They don't learn like you do because it's hard for them to let it sink in. They just want to manhandle or woman handle. They just want to hit that bag like this. And they think they're doing all this, and they're not. They're not hitting it with any power. There's no stopping power. They're not going to stop the fight. They're young enough that they should do that all day long. We've only got a few good punches in us. So we're going to make every single one count. So you have to unlock that old man's strength, that old woman's strength. And the only way to do that, and this is just a recap, is to extend and rotate through your hips and your shoulders and step. Move your body forward on the punch. Don't throw your chin, move the foot. When you move the foot, the hand still is in the lead. Hand's in the lead. My head goes forward a little bit because I'm moving my, right? But I'm turning and stepping. It's like fencing. If I have a foil and I'm fencing, think of fencing if you've ever done that, and then that back hand comes forward a little bit. Don't come all the way in, but turn enough, throw that punch, comes forward, snap it out, and get it back. Get your punches back. Don't get in the habit of leaving your punches out and let them punch you in your face. All right, Shannon says she always tells her daughter 12, someone puts their hands on her, she has permission to knock them out, and you'll deal with the school. Yes, adults have to take care of the kids. Here's what I teach them, Shannon. Put your hands up and say, stop, Sally, stop, Tim. I use their name. It's a pattern interrupt. Don't touch me. So that the teacher snaps her head over and sees it while it's happening. Almost every time, the kids can never get, the teachers don't know how to handle it. They don't know how. And so we have to teach the teachers how to handle it. The teachers feel like they have to sit on their hands and put up with bad behavior. Chief of Beef, thank you for that $10 donation. I appreciate that. We adults have to speak up and protect children. That's our job. That's our only job that we have left. That's what we're supposed to do. But you have to know, one, you don't need any permission to protect your own children. You don't need permission from the school, from the state, from the city, from the federal government. It's your right, your human right as a parent to go in and fight for your kids. Number two, most adults, you have to know this, most adults don't know how to stop a kid from picking on another kid. That's why they don't say anything. I know because I'm in schools all day long for the last 24 years. And so when I go in and these conversations come up and the teacher's so frustrated, there's a sense that they're not allowed to say anything or they don't want to stunt the feelings. But what you tell them what to do is you say to the other child, you don't get to say that. You're not allowed to talk to that child like that. You're not allowed to call him names. You're not allowed to post that online. You're not allowed to post that picture on there. And you tell them. You don't. But what we do instead is, how do you think it makes them feel? Tell him how it makes you feel when he tell her how it makes. And I'm not trying to be whatever, but you know what? You get my point. It's this whole airy-fairy. Let's all get along, kumbaya, and sway our hips, and maybe we'll get the tears running, and the bully will stop. No, the bully's doing it because he's a bully. He wants them to cry. Don't tell him how you make it or how it makes you feel. He knows how it makes you feel. But I guarantee you, you go into any school in America today, any public school, there's some private schools that handle it better. Maybe one or two public schools that handle it well. But the vast majority, 99.99%, the teachers will do nothing. Or if they do anything, they will say, well, let's get together and talk about it. And you tell him how it makes you feel. And it's like he knows that's why he's doing it. He wants me to go home and hurt myself. He's trying to get everybody else to think he's funny. So what is there to talk about? Punishment. And I don't mean punch the kid in the head, but you know what I mean? Consequence. Give the kid some consequence. You do that again, here's what happens. And then you make it happen. I mean, it's so asinine. When I go into these schools and we have these conversations because the teachers are just so lost. And they're like, well, and I literally had this kid, kindergartner's kid was just choking this other kid, smashing her head, two hands up against, boom, 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 up against the back. This is a private school. This kid's grandparents' names were on the auditorium. We were in the auditorium in the little gym. And the kids, bam, bam. And the teacher, she's standing there, this little kindergarten teacher, in a high-pitched voice, Stewart, make a good choice, make a good choice. And I go in and I snatch him up physically. Not in a mean way. I just remove him from the girl's neck. And I'd say, and I don't look at him. And I get the little girl to stop crying in 3 seconds, which is one of my superpowers. I say, go take a drink of water, come back. And I say, hey, he was really mad, right? She's like, yeah. I said, you look at him right now and you tell him, you don't have to like me, Stuart, but you never touch me again. And she said it. And I said, okay, go to class. I'll be in a minute. And then the kid's catching, scratching me, kicking me, trying to punch me, spitting on me. Let me go. I don't know you, let me go. And I turn around and I look at him. I said, take a deep breath. I got him take a deep breath. 3 seconds. That's one of my superpowers. And I said, Stuart, it's obvious to me you were very mad at her. Now, it doesn't matter why you were mad. Not, I don't care, but it doesn't matter. Because it doesn't. It doesn't matter. The rest of your life, you can never stick your hands on another child and choke them on their neck when you're mad. You're allowed to be mad. You're not allowed to be violent. And then, I wasn't even thinking about it because I do it all day long. And then we go in, we teach a class to make him stand and watch. Because I'm not teaching a kid martial arts if he doesn't have self-control. It's like giving a crazy person a knife. Stand and watch. When you can prove that you control your body, you'll go in. He was in the next class. He was great for the rest of the year. But the teacher came up after me and she said, oh, because we had worked together 5 years at that school years before. And she said, She said, I forgot how you could do that. And I said, do what? And she said, you just told him to stop and he stopped. And I said, yes, I did. I said, you can do that too. She said, no, I can't. You can only do it because you're a man. And I said, if you believe that is true, no one will ever listen to you. Has nothing to do with my gender or your gender. Has everything to do with what you say and how you say it. Direct, clear communication. Just like self-defense has to be immediate, direct, and explosive. You put your hands up. You say to the kid, don't touch me. If you know them, you use their name. That makes them think. Then they have to make a choice. And if they do, get out of the way. Block. Learn the other stuff. But it starts with this. Hands up and open. Stay back. Don't touch me. And then, with the knockout power, we go back to what we were doing. Yeah. LMU, you guys haven't missed much. I just got off on a weird tangent. But it's all related, right? It's all about what you say and how you say it and how you mean it, right? And if you want to generate more knockout power, unlock that old man strength, that crazy eye, old man, old woman strength, you have to extend, rotate, and move your body into the punch. And the way you practice with jabs. With your jab, start with extension. This is the target. Extension, and then rotation. Rotate on this first one. And by the way, this is not a jab. A lot of people in the boxing gyms, I go to the Title Boxing Gym, I go to all these commercial boxing gyms where it's boxing fitness, which is awesome because it's a great workout and at least you're doing some punching for self-defense. But when they're doing double jabs, they're like this. That is not a jab. That is a jab. The jab is meant to stop them in their tracks. Move them back, move them back. It's a rangefinder. And then boom, big knockout punch. So when you throw your jabs or your double jabs or your triple jabs, make sure they come back and you're turning, rotating to generate awesome, ultimate, old man strength, old woman strength, knockout power for senior self-defense. Add that little movement of your body. Your front foot has to move. I've got to show, I know we're doing a recap, but I got to show you the front foot because this is super, super important. This is my right hand. If I'm jabbing with my right foot, sorry guys, I thought I had it down low enough. You need to get one of those robot AI cameras that follows me around. The front foot has to move. I still don't think we're low enough, but you can see that I'm picking my foot up and I'm stepping in. When I step in, I throw the punch. Stepping, like I said, it's like if you were a fencer and you foil. You know, you have this front foot and it moves your body in. That's why in fencing, which is one of the best sports that I've ever seen for explosiveness, that's so fast. That first motion, and it's straight in through the body. You're going straight in to the chin, and you want to step, and just practice that knockout power. And then that second hand, that comes in through, boom, that comes too with a little step. Boom. And you extend, and I was a little too close. When you practice, find your range so you can do a full extension and practice extending on the bag. Wearing gloves is even better. All right. The failing step, Jack Dempsey. Jack Dempsey, one of my favorite quotes about Jack Dempsey. And I know you're talking about this actual step. But yeah, Jack Dempsey was the king of old man strength. And he had a long career. And he had this famous fight. And this is how you're going to do this is old man power, old woman strength, old man strength, because it's about experience. And he had to fight this guy who was younger, faster, stronger, and smarter. And all the other papers said, Jack Dempsey's going to fight this guy. Jack Dempsey's done. His career's over. He's a washout. This young kid who's smarter, faster, stronger, better boxing skills, newer style, is going to beat Jack Dempsey. And then the fight. All night long. Jack Dempsey's just tearing the guy up. Just tearing him up. And at the end of the fight, he wins. Hands down. No question. The old washed out man had knockout power. He had old man strength, old woman strength. Senior self-defense. How'd that happen? They asked him. And he said, it was simple. I knew this kid was younger. I knew he was stronger. I knew he was faster. I knew he had better skills. I knew he came from a newer style. And I knew the whole time he was going to be thinking. He was going to be thinking about what he was going to do. So I just went out there and I just boxed him. I just punched him. I was just punching. And the whole time he's thinking, I'm punching him. And that's how he beat him. The whole time he's thinking, I'm just hitting him. And sometimes that's old man strength, right? That's old man strength. That's that wisdom, that experience. You know, the young guy, he's got all of the like you see these kids in the gym these days, and they have all this fancy equipment and fancy clothes. I was talking to the one trainer, and she said, and I said, why is everybody wearing these weird vests these days? And they're like, well, they're wearing these vests because they have all these sensors on them. And then afterward, they can look it up on their phone, and they can see all these different things. And I thought, is that why they spend 20 minutes messing with their phone in between every set? Just get your workout done. You'll be in better shape. You don't need a vest. There's the mirror. Take your shirt off and see if the fat's still super jiggly. If it is, you need more work, right? Get to work. You don't need all this stuff. So that's my final tip. You guys have been awesome. I'll see you in a little bit. Thanks again, Chief of Beef, for that $10. And it really helps this stuff going. Steve says, everybody has a plan until I hit him in the face. And Stokes says, strength. Yeah, some people say that's Mike Tyson now. Everybody, all the quotes that are coming out are saying, well, it was this guy and it was that. Who knows? It's a great quote, though, and it's true, right? The whole time he's thinking, I'm punching him in the face. He had a plan until I punched him in the face. Ellen, thank you. I'll see you guys in just a little bit. I think my class isn't showing up. I saw a text come through. I think they have to reschedule. But I'm going to be back before the next class starts. And I think I feel like doing nunchucks. I don't know what it is. I don't want to think too much. I love doing nunchucks. For me, it's like a moving meditation. Just get those things going. So we'll do nunchucks. We'll be back in just a little bit. You guys have been awesome. Thank you.